Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today in the video, I think we're going to be joined by a certain 6-month-old baby because he kind of needs to be in my arms a lot right now, and I need to film a video. So today I'm going to be talking about sort of what I expected or what I thought things were going to be like as a mum to 2 preschoolers, or at least a preschooler and a baby, and kind of the reality of what it's like. Right, we're back with a certain little boy. Yeah, so what did I think it was going to be like before I had you? Really? I think it's going to be a nice video. I thought things were going to be insane. I thought it was going to be harder than I could possibly ever imagine, which I kind of knew going into parenting, end of story. But I thought it was just going to be a non-stop, me running around the house constantly, horrendous, just, yeah, crazy. I thought I'm never going to sleep again. We'll sit this way so the sun's not in his eyes so much. Yeah, so I thought, you know, I'm going to be doing endless washing, endless loads of washing, that I won't sleep for God knows how long, because every time the baby cries, Squidge will wake up, was what I thought. Yeah, I thought I'm never going to get anything done again. I'll have to give up all my hobbies. That's kind of what I thought it was going to be like. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The reality is, you know what? It's hard. It's definitely really hard. But it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. The hardest part for me is the school run. So Squidge has started something called the Rising Threes now. So he goes to a Welsh speaking school just for 2.5 hours a day, every day of the week. And it starts at 9, it finishes at 11:30. And the hardest thing for me is, like, when I've been up a lot with Dot in the night feeding him, is then having to get up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning to get he's doing the show a little bit there, to get Squidge ready for school and get porridge in him, his breakfast, and get us there on time. It's really hard. It's really hard. Oh, getting out of bed that time in the morning, as well, I know it's not ridiculously early, but like after being up half the night and having to get myself out of the house, it's really hard. It's really hard. On weekends, we don't feel like we have a weekend. It feels like Chris comes home from work on a Friday evening, and it feels like you blink like that and then he's going to work Monday morning. We don't get to do anything. So many things in the house we need to do. Nothing gets done, ever. Like, we just don't have the time. There's no time. I don't know how people with kids, multiple kids, ever do any renovations or anything to the house where they do it themselves. To get things done, I have to get husband to take time off work. So like next week, which is probably going to be, oh, what's wrong? We've got some things we need to get done in the house, some renovations and things to help with our storage and stuff. So Daddy's taking a couple of days off next week. The days that Squidge would normally be in school. This will probably have already happened by the time you watch this, just so that we can actually get some stuff done in the house. We've started building in the alcoves around the fireplace, must be over 6 months ago, and nothing's happened in that time. And we really need to get them finished, because that's going to be a lot of storage for this room, which we desperately need. To get the mantle up, I bought the mantle, I don't know, arrived November, and it's still not up. And it's something really simple to do. It's not fussy. You just got to get the measurements right, and that's it. Yeah, so things like that. That's really difficult. And I think, in reality, as long as you say to yourself, you don't have any spare time to yourself, you don't have free time, you are at their beck and call, you will constantly be up about doing stuff. As long as you can accept that, it won't bother you. And I think as long as you can accept the fact that time is not yours anymore, it just doesn't, well, for me, I can only speak for me, but it doesn't bother me. You know, it's like, oh well, I'm not sleeping, it's fine. My time, you know, when he sleeps, half the time he sleeps on me anyway. So my time's either going to be spent having him sleeping on me or looking after him when he's crawling around on the floor. You know, it really makes no difference to me what my time is spent doing, because it's spent doing things for the kids, and that's fine. I wouldn't have had another child if I wasn't prepared to spend all my time doing that. The thing that's really caught me out is weaning. So we started weaning just only 3 days ago, and my workload has increased exponentially. So whereas like before, I could make Squidge food and me food and just leave the dishes until the husband comes home, and then either he would do them or I would do them. And I didn't need to have to kind of do all that. When you're weaning, you have to keep on top of everything. Like, his table has to be cleaned down after every feed, and everything needs to be ready for the next feed. So it's that I find really hard, because you have to be properly on your game and keeping everything clean. So washing machine's on a lot more now. Yeah, so things like that, keeping on top of everything in that way was hard. So our house is quite damp. Clothes don't really dry in here, so we have to have a tumble dryer, and I've got one that's it's AA rated. It's really good, but it was in the garage, and it's been such a rainy winter that it was just a nightmare going down there to bring in clean, dry clothes in the pouring rain. So we brought the tumble dryer into the house, and it's in the dining room, which is not ideal, but gosh, it does mean I can get washing done when I need to now, which is great. And actually keep on top of it now, instead of just trying to do a couple of loads at the weekend, which is not a good way. I need to be able to do it all the time, which I do now, which is great. Hello, and now the cat's joined us too. Hello. Yeah, so weaning's been a real challenge. Initially as well, just after Dot was born, when he was about 2 weeks old, we started potty training Squidge. Like, I'm not quite sure how we managed that, coping with a newborn baby who was, so still is breastfeeding, and was cluster feeding, so was feeding pretty much every hour, and would be feeding for quite a long time as well. So it was really, really intense feeding. And I was running around after a toddler, emptying his potty after every single time, and looking after him and cleaning up any accidents. Not that there were many, he was really good. Yeah, that was really hard work. But so things like that kind of caught me out, but in reality, you know, it's not been as bad as I thought it would be. Again, you just kind of have to accept the house is going to be a mess. There's not a lot you can do about that, because all your time will be spent looking after the children. You have to accept something has to give, and it's going to always be the housework, because you're not going to sacrifice anything with your children. It's always going to be things that don't really matter too much, like the housework. You know, there's ways around it. I've had family members, my mother-in-law, come over and just spend the day here looking after the baby, with me just feeding him whenever he needs to feed, just so I can run around the house and get some stuff done. If I didn't have family nearby, that would have been a lot more difficult, but yeah, it's not so bad. It's the bedtime routines are a bit of a killer as well at the moment. They're not so bad at the moment, and I'm going to regret saying this, because Squidge is going to sleep pretty quickly at the moment. He's probably the best he's ever been, so I feel like I'm jinxing it now. But what happens is, like, so he goes up to bed about somewhere between about 7:30 and 8 o'clock. It all depends on what time we've had dinner and how late they get home. And then I take him up, I get him into his pajamas, he goes, brushes his teeth, has a wee, comes back into the room, I read him a couple of bedtime stories, he gets into bed, I give him a kiss, and at the moment, within 5 minutes, he's asleep. It's amazing. It used to take about 2 hours to get him to sleep. And then I'll come down, hubby and I'll spend half hour together, watching something on TV, something whatever, you know, nothing interesting. And then, because often the baby will be asleep on him when I come down, when the baby wakes up, I'll feed him and then look after him. Hubby goes out to sort out the kitchen from dinner, like all the washing up and everything. And he will literally be out there for an hour and a half, sorting everything out. And the way it feels at the moment, because I'm upstairs a little bit longer, editing and doing some stuff, by the time hubby gets back into the lounge, it's gone 11 o'clock. And it's like, it's time for bed, it's time to go up. So we're just not having any time together whatsoever. No quality time at all. We were watching Game of Thrones, but we just don't really even get time to watch an episode of that an evening now. There literally isn't that time. By the time we get this little man up to bed and get him fed and to sleep, it's gone midnight. You know, it's hard, it's really hard. But it's fine, because we accept that it's difficult and that our time is spent looking after them, and we know we will have our evenings back at some point. We had them back a lot earlier with Squidge, we had them back by now, but we did things a bit differently, and I don't think we did things right with him. Looking at it now, I'm like, he was sleeping by himself too early. Before 6 months, he was up in his cot, going to bed every night. As a lot of things, I think, on reflection, we should have done differently with Squidge, and I might put that all into a separate video, just how we do it so differently second time round, and how much more laid back you are second time round. Yeah, it's very different. It's a whole different experience. But I treasure it even more because Dot is our last baby, and so I'm treasuring. I'm a little bit emotional. He is my last baby. Treasure every single moment. Gosh, I didn't expect to get emotional. Sorry, I feel really silly now. I don't feel like I'm really done having babies, but I think I have to be, because I don't want to be having babies in my 40s, and I'm 39 in April, and I'm high risk, so I don't want to add that into the equation as well. But yeah, there is nothing I regret about every moment I have spent with Dot. Every nap he's had on me, painful breastfeeding, waking me up 6 times a night, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're amazing, and being with me second time round has been so different, and it is really hard. It is really hard, but oh, it's awesome as well. It's absolutely fantastic, especially when you've got a lovely little pudding like this. Hello, do you want to stop looking at the TV and look at the camera? Hey, my darling. Hey? No, he's watching adverts about space. You're gonna take after your daddy. Hey, you're gonna take after your daddy. Should have turned the TV off actually, because you can probably hear it. Anyway, I'm waffling. Gosh, I can't believe I just cried on camera. That came out of nowhere. I hope this video makes sense in some sort of way. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. They were happy tears. They were happy tears. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see any more of my videos. I try to keep them as honest as possible about parenting. It's hard, it's really hard, but it's also super wonderful. I wouldn't change it for the world. Hello, Daddy. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.